Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Friday, April 11th. You made it to the end of the work week if you're like most people and have the weekend off, right? So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, we're going to talk about what an annual maintenance plan might look like that Mark brought up and how to go about it and is it feasible? And I'll be honest with you, Mark, never done it before, but it's something I am looking at and was I'll try to weigh out the pros and cons off the top of my head of what might be there. Stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric, if you didn't already know it. And yes, this is the weekday, Monday through Friday. Today is Friday, April 11th, 2025. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about trying to get an annual maintenance program in, and how would we do it, and how will we go about adding customers? And it's a good question mark. Not a question mark, it's a question mark as a person that left a comment of where you're trying to figure things out. Well, let's figure things out together. The pros and cons of it, okay? The pros would be you could probably sell it for a decent rate and it would be residual income throughout the year, because as I was saying yesterday, you have to play the long game. You can't just base it on that month or two that is just packed right full of customers, right? So if we could get somebody on an annual maintenance program, we could do it at our leisure, right? It doesn't need to be done first thing in the spring. It could be done later in the year. And how would it even look? Well, it could look like doing a service on that one piece of equipment once a year. It could be looking at it twice a year. It could include more than just one piece of equipment. It could include other things. But you'd want to have them on the list. And the customer would need to understand that if other stuff was added to that list in that maintenance program, it would become more expensive, right? It would be more costs on their end because it's more costs on your end. I know it's not making sense yet, but hopefully by the end of this video it will. Because I've looked at this before and kind of tossed it aside, and now I'm revisiting it again. And I'll tell you some of the hurdles that I'm still trying to overcome with it. And with your help, maybe we can all figure it out and make it beneficial for us all. So the pros is a customer is going to be thrilled with it as long as it was priced okay, so that it was within their price range. And this helps the customer because they can budget for that year of knowing it's going to cost X number of dollars, to make sure their lawnmower is running tip top throughout the summer, right? And if you're doing it twice a year on the machine, you can kind of pick and choose when to go and pick that unit up and take care of it, right? And what do I mean? I mean, unless you're a mobile mechanic, and there are a lot of you guys out there doing the mobile thing and knocking it out of the park, this would be great for you guys. Is if you're doing it out of the back of a trailer or even your truck, and you've got the lawnmower lift and everything else right there with you that you can get at Harbor Freight, Tractor Supply, that you roll the front tires up on. That's what we have. And it lifts it up like that. Gives you the ability to crawl underneath it, hit it with a battery operated grinder, touch up the blades, drop her to the ground after you clean the deck, blew off the deck. There's so many things that you could do as a mobile that you can't as a shop. So if you were going to do it as a shop, that's where I'm more leaning, because it's so easy to do it as a mobile service. And you guys that are doing mobile, you're probably already doing it. But if you're not, keep listening, because I'm trying to work it out in my head and think of the pros and cons and how it would work for us. The pros definitely are for the customer because they've got a number that they're budgeting with. So if you're going to do a maintenance program, you have to have a dollar amount. And what does that dollar amount cover? You really have to be careful here, because if the customer thinks that it covers everything and you're doing it once or twice a year, included in that monies, if something happens and they do something and it becomes an expensive fix, who is it on? It's on you, because you didn't relay to the customer that is not covered. And where am I going with this? All right, this is the problem I have to doing even a special when it comes to trying to get customers in the spring of the year. And that is simply just the oil filter, the air filter can vary in price from machine to machine to machine. The motor blades, I've seen $8 to $15 discrepancies between each blade from one style to another style. From one machine to another one. It doesn't matter how many blades it takes. But no, you got the 42-inch Craftsman group, they're all pretty much the same blade, which is fine. But if you have a Simplicity or a Ferris, it doesn't matter what size, whether it takes 2, 3, the blades are quite a bit more expensive. You see what I'm saying? So your maintenance program would have to be like your normal plugs, oil filter, fuel filter, and blowing out the air filter. If the air filter has to be replaced, that's extra. And you have to sell it like that. If the blades need to be replaced, that's extra. Because if not, you're going to be going backwards. And the only way to do it is to take all your customers, tally them up of how much it costs for the year, and then divide it by the number of customers. And that will give you a baseline number that for the most part will keep you in the good. But the problem is if people that you don't have for customers hears about what you're doing with your customers of an annual maintenance program, and it's X number of dollars for the year, and it covers everything, you may have them come flocking to you and their machine is in horrible shape. So you have to take it case by case by case, right? So that's the first thing, is understanding the limitations of what we could do. But if you're like an insurance company, they base it on numbers. The more numbers you have to divide into the overall bill, the least you're going to incur throughout the year, right? So the idea is to keep your number up. And you could do it this way. Your most expensive customer, have it start there, and then that's what it's going to cost for everybody. But it may be a turnoff to your regular customers that have been coming to you for years and having it only cost half. But either way, you're going to have to be a salesman in this. You're going to have to believe in it yourself. that it works and it's going to work for you and it's going to work for the customer. I think it's very doable. I think it's a great idea. It's just how to implement is where it leaves me scratching my head every year that I look at it. Same thing with the specials that we have on mowers. It's a great way to get customers in, but where do you start? And where do you stop? And should it be based on each machine? Each size of machine? You see where I'm going with this? So if you're going to say that you're going to do an annual maintenance program and then have the fine print where it doesn't cover the air filter, doesn't cover the mower blades, I know you're going to have problems with your customer because they're going to say, well, I thought it covered everything. Because Tractor Supply with their Power Plus, they tried the same thing and they're still doing it, so there must be money. But Power Plus bases it on a numbers game because they can get millions of people to sign up for their program. This says it will insure your unit, and I don't know whether it's Tractor Supply or whether it's Power Plus telling Tractor Supply employees how to sell it, is that it will cover everything, right down to a lawnmower blade, to a battery, and you can sign up for 1, 2, or 3 years. But what they aren't telling you is that for the first couple of years, it's basing it off what the warranty is on the unit anyways, right? They're not giving you that for a used piece of equipment. They're giving that to you on a brand new piece. And what is written right in there is they will not cover anything that the warranty department will cover. So if Cub Cadet, a person buys a brand new lawnmower and they have a problem with it, Power Plus doesn't kick in unless the warranty doesn't cover it all. But if you look at the Power Plus information, it says we will not cover anything that the warranty department won't cover. So if Cub Cadet won't cover it, Power Plus won't either. And they're running concurrently, so they're both right together. They're not, you run your Cub Cadet warranty for this amount of time, and then from that point on, Power Plus covers. No, they're not doing that at all. They're doing it while you have a warranty through the manufacturer on it. And Power Plus is just like the warranty. They only warranty certain things. They're not going to warranty a defective battery or blades. You know, we've had so many examples of customers going out and hitting something with the mower blade and breaking the blade or bending it, and then wanting Cub Cadet or Power Plus to warranty it. And you can't warranty stupid. You can't. So when it comes back to the yearly maintenance program, if we could do it where it's based on numbers, and maybe the program would look like, under this program you get one free service depending on the unit, and that is either a spring service or a fall service on a riding lawnmower. During that service we'll check X, Y, and Z. But if we run into a situation of where it needs a new air filter or new mower blades, that's on top of what your yearly subscription is. And you could tell them it's because it varies so much from machine to machine, and that you don't feel right in charging them $25 a blade when there's normally would only cost $15 because the other guys cost $25, right? But in that annual service program, you could also cover breakdowns. That's part of the program. Now you're playing the numbers game. How many of them are going to have breakdowns in that summer? Hopefully, it's going to be a small percentage of the overall number of customers that have signed on to that program. So you're playing a numbers game now of getting that person through from spring till fall and giving them a worry-free summer, because if something breaks on it, you're going to cover it under the annual maintenance program. And I know I can hear a lot of you out there right now saying, well, we're going to have to eat that. And you are. But if you have 3 people break down out of 100, aren't you playing the numbers game? Where the 97 that didn't break down, you collected the extra money on to cover the 3 that did? See, when you start playing that kind of a game, and it's not a game, that kind of a way of looking at things, that you have to take what it would cost for a normal service, and I would figure in what it costs on average for a breakdown, and then sell that to each one of your customers saying this covers your one service and any breakdowns throughout the summer. Of course, you don't want to sign on to people that you look at their machines and you wonder why they're even still running. Or that new customer that shows up and it's a POS to start with, right? It's just headaches right off the bat. So you have to set rules in place that it has to fit certain criteria for your salespeople to sell that, or for you to sell that package to somebody else, right? I'm also looking a lot on your input of what you guys think, because I think if we could do it right, it would be a moneymaker for the shops. It would give you that residual, and it would give that customer a carefree summer, knowing that if something breaks down, that you're going to be there to take care of it, and it's not going to cost them any more money. Just what they paid in that annual maintenance program. And there's also other things that are going on too that are happening that are good. It means that you know that the customer's machine is going to be in better mechanical shape throughout the summer, because you got your eyes on it and your hands on it at least once a year. Again, I'm looking for your input on it of, are you doing it? And if you are, how are you doing it? I mean, do you do it so much for the service on your specials, plus if you have to add blades or air filter is extra? You know, your service could be just basically oil change, fuel filter, spark plugs, blow out the air filter, and sharpen the blades. That could be your service package that you're selling. Okay? And then you could also have within that, would also cover any breakdowns throughout the summer. Now you're playing the numbers game. But hear me out. When that unit comes in the spring of the year, if it needs the air filter, you're going to replace it, and it's going to cost that customer more money. If you have to replace those blades, it's going to cost the customer more money, right? So the customer needs to be sold that package with that in mind, right? You're already blowing the deck off, cleaning the deck inside off, greasing, going front to back on that unit, checking belts, everything else. If everything looks good on it and you sign off and it goes out, if it breaks down, you're playing the money's game, okay? And what do I mean by the money's game? I mean, this here will probably get you more customers, so you have more business throughout the year. For you guys that are slammed all the time, it doesn't make any sense. I totally understand. But for you guys that it's feast and famine like us, this could be beneficial where we're staying busy longer in the year. Because a lot of times, instead of a customer fixing the issue, they just try to prolong it and limp it through the rest of the season until the following year when we look at it, right? Whereas if you sold it as a carefree summer package and the customer had a breakdown, you could go out and fix the breakdown then, instead of having it be in worse shape when it comes back to you in the spring, right? Now, if you have somebody blow an engine, that could get expensive, right? But it also having that contract that you have the option of putting on used equipment, a used engine in that situation. Because if not, you could set yourself back thousands of dollars. How would you go about it? You've heard how I would go about it. I think it's a great idea. I think if we could get this ironed out so that it was a well-oiled machine, it would be both beneficial to us and our customers. It's just what the end product is going to look like. And I think the end product is going to be the selling point of you're paying once for the year. We've got you covered. We're doing a complete service on it in the spring of the year or sometime during the summer or in the fall at our leisure as we're picking stuff up. That avoids the rush in the spring. It does not cover air filter or blades or belts, because belts could get expensive too. But this is what it covers, and then it covers any breakdowns throughout the summer for X number of dollars. And that X number of dollars might be 500, 1,000. It depends on your area, right? And what your normal service is. Our average service is right around $200 to $300 per machine. And that's with no breakdowns. That's just an average, what it is out the door on a normal service. And that's figuring the ones with air filters need to be replaced, the ones with not. It's $250 to $300 out the door. And that could be the thing where you figure, let's say $300. And then what would it cost on average for a breakdown? Add another couple hundred. So now you're up to $500. Selling the package for $500 for the year. And we will do a service on it once. And we will do any repairs that needs to be done at any time during your mowing season, if it's for a riding lawnmower. But when you set up these service plans, each piece of equipment that customer adds to their plan is going to cost them more money. And they need to understand that. They can't have the service plan and have it cover their lawnmower, their weed eater, your chainsaw, you know what I'm getting at? Unless it's covered within that plan and that you're looking at each unit once a year for a general service and then covering any breakdowns. If that makes any sense. Put in the comments what you think and if you've tried it and is it doing well or did it do well or did it flop totally? So on that note, you guys enjoy your Friday, and I'll be here sometime this weekend, either with a video Saturday ends for the Sunday sermon or just Sunday sermon, like I did last week. Have a great weekend.